Alright, so I realized that I use the term union with divinity quite a bit, or union with the divine. And I did realize that a lot of people may not actually realize what I'm talking about here. Being me, I'm a bit different. So I wanted to just explain that in some detail today. And hopefully going forward that will explain a lot of the content that I create. Alright, so let's have a look at that. Welcome to my channel. You are entering the world of magic and mysticism with your host, Lee W. Johnson. Keep the lights on and help improve the channel by becoming a supporter for just $2.99 per month. Hit the join button. Alright, so when it comes to this term union with the divine, I think many of us view it in terms of a Christian thing, or even further than that. It's found in Judaism, it's found in Hinduism, it's found in practically every tradition that we find. But the usual way of viewing that creates a separation, which is kind of the opposite of what you're trying to accomplish with union with the divine. So, I think we need to get into this a bit deeper and try and understand it. And if you do really go deep into the older traditions, you'll probably find that my explanation is probably what they're explaining. But on a surface level, for many people, it's just that it's the union of man and God, or the union of two opposites and bringing them into union. But when we speak about the divine, there is no opposition, there is no opposite. And again, I wrote a blog post before making the video and the words just flowed out of me, so I'm going to read quite a bit from the actual blog post itself. So when it does come to this union, what we usually find in explanations is that we have ourselves and then we have a God, or God itself. And this union that we are trying to attain with this divine being is one that we are removing ourselves from the pain and suffering of this world. So we overcome samsara, and we move ourselves away from that and closer to this divine spiritual aspect. But in this case, again, that is usually considered to be a singular entity, and that's not what I consider God to be. So we have this aspect of a person who is trying to move to God. So that's two singular aspects, two separate realities, two separate beings which are trying to come into union. But in order to do that, you've got to move away from something to something. Okay. The other aspect of this is in terms of an avatar, where the aspect of the divinity comes down into humanity. We can see this in terms of Jesus Christ, for instance. But we find it a lot in something like Hinduism. There have been a lot of avatars. For instance, I mean, Vishnu, one of Vishnu's avatars, and I can't remember the number now, I've forgotten. I think there's 9 in total. One of them was Krishna. So we have these avatars, that physical bodies that get filled with a particular spirit, a particular deity, a particular god or goddess, and come down into humanity. But again, that's a singular being. It's not this God, this union with divinity that I'm actually referring to. One of the really simple symbols here would be to look at the hexagram. So the hexagram is two triangles overlapping, one facing up, one facing down, or the point facing up, point facing down. And this is often considered to be a symbol of that union of man and God, but a union of opposites in any instance. It could be masculine and feminine, it could be water and fire. But what we're really after here is the combination of the union of binary into non-binary. So in order to understand this union with divinity, we first need to understand what this divinity is. And this is going to obviously differ from person to person, but in order for me to explain how and why I use the term union with divinity or union with the divine, I first need to explain how I understand and view this divine essence, this divine power, what people often call God. So it's divinity, it's God, it's the great architect, it's the mind, it's the all, it's many things. Actually, I'm going to start reading the blog post from this point, because this is where words just started flowing. So this might be a bit lengthy. You'll have to excuse me while I read. The divine, or God, the architect, the source, the force, the all, the mind, whatever we wish to call it, is the everything and the no-thing. This is a force or power that extends into all things that we can comprehend, think of, examine, interpret, define, touch, taste, smell, hear, and see. It is everything conceivable. When we say conceivable, this is all things that we can imagine, seen and unseen. However, this divine power is also the no-thing, therefore everything beyond that which is conceivable, everything that we cannot understand, examine, perceive, define, or even imagine. It is the space between things, the void, the abyss, the nothingness, but even these things are words that will excite the imagination and create visual stimuli. So the no-thing is everything that you cannot imagine, cannot visualize. Now, if the divine is that which I outlined above, we cannot move from one thing to another. We cannot ascend or even descend. We cannot move away from, run away from, or toward. We cannot go to, and therefore it is not a case of moving one body, the person, to another body, God. The divine aspect is everywhere, whether we can see it or not, whether we can imagine it or not. And that means it is in your own body. In the screen you are reading this on or hearing my voice from. It is the clothes you wear, the bed you slept in, the food you ate. It is your neighbor, the dog that is barking down the road, the car that went by. The divine is all things. The divine is also all things beyond these physical aspects. It is the emotions you feel, the pain, the sorrow, the guilt, the happiness, the joy, the love. It is the spiritual path you follow, the beings you may work with or worship, the demons, the angels, the gods and goddesses. This divine is also all things beyond that. It is beyond the cosmos and all the celestial bodies. It is beyond the light and the dark. It is beyond the good and the evil that we like to define to make ourselves feel better about our own existence. Is what he did good? Am I a good person? Was what he did bad? I'm better than that person because they are evil. This divine power is here right now. We cannot move toward it. We can, however, become aware of it. Yet this is still not becoming aware of two bodies, yourself and God. It is becoming aware of everything and nothing. This idea of union with the divine is about union with everything. It is uniting with the divine element in the physical, emotional, mental, and spiritual. Union with the divine element within the seen and the unseen world. Union with the divine beyond that which is everything. In order to do this, we can start with ourselves. Recognize and become aware of the divine within yourself. You are divinity because divinity is everything. Recognize the God or goddess that is you. Once you can connect with that divinity and bring your own separated consciousness into union with your own divinity, then you can start to expand your awareness beyond yourself. Extend it to the room you are in and recognize everything in it as being divinity. The desk, the chairs, the pot plants, the annoying fly, the trail of ants, everything is the divine. Become aware of that and extend further to the trees and the animals outside, the birds in the sky, the fish in the pond, the buildings in the street, the power station, the bus stop, everything. Recognize everything as divinity. What you may start to find is that you realize how precious everything is and how connected we are to everything. Some people treat others, animals, and the earth as their own stomping ground, bringing abuse and trash, spoiling it, turning buildings into dumps, destroying land. When you realize the union you have with divinity, you realize how much that hurts you directly. Every time someone hits a dog, you feel it. Every time someone throws another bag of garbage on a pile that is polluting a stream, it suffocates you. Now extend beyond that to the entire world, all of the people, animals, and plants. Continue, extend beyond our planet and stretch out into the universe and beyond that, taking in the entire cosmos, from the quantum to the most immense, from that which is zero to the one. It is all divine. So when I say union with the divine, this is what I mean. Some would not be able to handle this, and that is fine. It is a process to learn how to deal with that pain and move beyond it, to recognize it as all part of that divinity. It also means that you take everything under your wing and you care for it all, just as you would care for yourself. It is a challenge because you will need to take action and do something about it. Like I said, it's not for everyone. Alright, so I think that explains what I mean when I talk about this concept of union with the divine. As I said, I do talk about it a lot, bringing things into harmony and balance and equilibrium, bringing opposing forces into that balance and then moving forward with it. But this is the goal we're really going for. But the difficulty is that when we talk about this union with divine, it tends to become very selfish. We have people trying to reach enlightenment, and we have enlightenment all the time, over and over and over again, but people are trying to ascend to this higher level of being, this higher vibration, trying to remove themselves from the physical and material into the spiritual, when there cannot be a separation if we are going to do that. The physical and the material is the spiritual and the astral. It's all the same thing. It's all part of the same thing. It's all divinity. So we cannot remove ourselves from it in order to get to it. We are already in it. We just need to become aware of it. But we have these people trying to reach enlightened states and trying to ascend to these higher states. And it's, as I said, it becomes almost selfish because there's a lack of understanding of what it is. Union with the divine is ascending to those higher levels, those higher states of consciousness, is about encompassing everything, because you come to a realization that divinity is all of these things. If you don't get to that realization, you're not ascending to anything. You're not becoming enlightened. You are just going by rote of what other people are telling you and the misunderstanding that you have. So yeah, anyway, so that's the concept that well, how I understand it, how I when I talk about it, that's what I'm talking about, that's what I mean. So will probably make things easier for people to understand when they're watching my content and reading my content. Yeah, I do. If you do want to read the blog, it's on my website, leewjohnson.com. As I said, what I'm doing now, instead of just recording the videos, I'm writing a blog post before I do the Monday videos. So they're all going on there first, and then Monday comes along. Okay. Alright then, I think that's it for today. And I'll see you on Wednesday for Ask Lee slot or segment, and hope you have a good one until then. Cheers for now. Bye bye.